Recording in progress.
Okay, I think you have logged on. So to prevent that kind of accidents, servicing is done in regular intervals in a plane. That is not going to be a simple task like vehicle servicing. It is said that in a normal passenger aircraft, there are 1 million different pieces in it, different parts in it. Most of them has to be checked, even though with a full service, every part cannot be tested. Sometimes because the errors done in the servicing, planes have crashed. So that's that. So when you are flying, it has a risk. You are at a risk of being crashed. Now, in normal vehicle, if it is broken, you can just open the door and come out. But if a plane is find something, some kind of malfunction or engine failure, most of the time it will get crashed. Right? When it crashes, the chance of survival will be near zero because it is hitting a ground or something, maybe a land or water, whatever, mountain, whatever, at a very high speed, about 200 kilometers per hour. So basically, everything will be destroyed. Only a fragments of pieces will be there. Okay. So you wrote them. Then comes musical instruments. So, as you know, there are different kinds of musical instruments, but we can categorize them under three groups. Musical instruments generate waves which are pleasing to the ear. These instruments are designed in a manner where there is a repeating pattern of waves. There are three types of musical instruments. වර්ග තුනකට බෙදෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ විදිහට. මියුසික් කරන කට්ටිය උතන ඇති. ඒගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් අපිට පොඩි හෙල්ප් එකක් දෙන්න. String instruments, percussion instruments, and wind instruments. There are three types of instruments. You can write the three types in those three boxes: string instruments, percussion instruments, and wind instruments. Write it down. Okay. So we'll talk about the string instruments. Now in the string instruments, right, they are vibrating strings. For the pitch of a string, we can change according to the necessity, according to the need, by increasing or decreasing the tension by changing the thickness of the wire. So when you put a thicker wire, it generates the sound of low pitch. Thin wire, sound of high pitch. When you increase the tension, high pitch. When you decrease the tension, low pitch. So the three examples are there: sitar, violin, and guitar. But in your textbook, the words are wrong. So they have put the guitar for the violin and violin for the guitar. They have made a mistake, but in the Sinhala book, it is correct. So somehow a Sinhala diagram was there. So you can write under string instruments, you can write there are vibrating strings in them. Pitch of a string depends on below factors. Pitch of a string depends on below factors. Length of the string, tension of the string, tension of the string, mass of unit length, and thickness. අර තියෙන්නේ බේස් ගිටාර් කියලා જાතියක් බේස් ගිටාර්ස් වල තියෙන්නේ බොහොම low pitch එකක් නේ. ඒකට ඒකේ string එක හරි මහතයි. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇති. මේ ටිකට තියෙන string එකේ වටේටත් ඔතල. box ගිටාර් එකක් වගේ ගත්තොත් ඒ වල තියෙන එක thickness එකේ strings තියෙනවා. So depending on the thickness of the string, the pitch changes. So you can write them. Okay, so we'll go to the next property of sound. Sorry, then musical instrument is the percussion instrument. So they have vibrating membranes or plates. Now different types of drums, then xylophone, cymbal, then there's something called talampata or dancing kannaga. So they are all coming under percussion instruments. ගිටාර් එක ප්ලේ කරද්දී අර මේ left hand එකෙන් අර ටච් කරනකොට කරන්නේ ටෙන්ෂන් එක වෙනස් කරනව නෙමෙයි ටෙන්ෂන් එක වෙනස් කරනවා උඩ දිනව කරකවන්න ඕනේ මේ ඇඟිලි වලින් අල්ලලා කරන්නේ change in the vibrating length ටික වෙනස් කරනතර more length low frequency shorter length high frequency එක වෙන්නේ ගිටාර් එකක් තියෙනවා අරගෙන බලන්න යාළුවෙක්ගේ මෙහෙම ටච් කරනකොට frequency එක වැඩි වෙනවා අර vibrating length එක change කරන්න එකයි කරන්නේ මොකද ටෙන්ෂන් එක වෙනස් කරන්න ටයිම් නැහැ. ටෙන්ෂන් එක වෙනස් කරන්නේ ටියුනින් කරන්න. ගිටාර් එකක් හරි වයලින් එකක් හරි ටිකක් මියුසික් දන්න කෙනෙක් ටියුනින් කරන්න ඕනේ. then only you can play. නැත්නම් හරියන්නේ. Okay, percussion instruments. These are the examples where you can write the small note here. මේ තියෙන එකවත් ලියා ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. In his instruments generating sound by the vibration of stretched membrane, metal rods, or metal plates are known as percussion instruments. Such instruments have to be tapped in order to generate sound. Right? Names are not needed. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ රබන් වල නම් නේ තබ්ලාව, යක් පෙර, ගැට පෙර, උඩැක්කි, රබාන, bass drum, side drum, cymbal, xylophone, තාලම්පට ඔක්කොම ඒවා දෙන ඒවා කැමතිලා නම් දෙක තුනකුත් ලියා ගන්න. ඒ නෝට් එක හදා ගන්න පුළුවන්. vocal cords කියන එක ඇත්තටම මේ instrument එකක් නෙමෙයිනේ. ඉතින් එයාව යන්නේ තෝ එකටම තමයි. මේ විදිහට තමයි යන්නේ. මේකට එන්න ඕනේ, but it is not an instrument, right? So we do not do the categorization, but it also has two membranes. ඒ throat එකේ larynx එකේ membranes දෙකක් තියෙනවා. මේ membranes දෙක vibration එකෙන් තමයි sound එන්නේ. Okay, you can make a small note by looking at this, Arya. Percussion instruments. You have to do something by yourself. So here the pitch depends on the tension of the membrane or the metal plate, area and the tension. Area and the tension. So after that we have wind instruments. After that we have wind instruments. So in the wind instruments, there are vibrating air columns, and vibrating air columns will produce the sound. So you can write instruments like flute, saxophone, trumpet, and clarinet generate sound by the vibrations of air columns and are known as wind instruments. The pitch of wind instrument depend on the length of the air column. So you can write it. Okay, so along with that, your lesson number 4 is finished, right? So then we can start the lesson number 5. මම මේකේ ටියුට් එක අප්ලෝඩ් කරලා තිබ්බේ කලින්ම ගිය සතියටත් කලින්. So ඔයගොල්ලෝ මම හිතන්නේ එදාම මම කිව්වා මේක හදාගන්න කියලා. lesson number 5 එක අපි දැන් start කරමු. අද lessons ටික ඉක්මනට ඉවර කරගත්තොත් අපිට revisions කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරි. So geometrical optics. So for this one, you need a ruler, a pencil to try to find them before starting the lesson. Okay. So in this one, we are going to talk about the behavior of light, and we are going to explain how the light reflected and refracted by several instruments. Right? Okay, very important lesson, and this one also certain knowledge you have about the light and the behavior. So we are going to improve your knowledge to a certain upper level now. First of all, reflection of light. So again, the word nothing new. Earlier you have done. Light is an essential factor for us to see our surrounding. To get the visual sensation, presence of light is a must. So in grade 6, I think I can remember, they explain what are the factors needed to see things. First one, you should have a good eyesight, and light is the other factor. The two factors are there in order to see something. To see an object, light rays must travel from that object to our eye. So if you want to see a book, the light rays from the book has to travel to your eye. The light rays may be coming from the sun to the book, or else from a bulb. Then they have to be reflected to your eye in order to see it. මම මේක group එකට දාලා ඉවරයි කොට දවස් 7කට විතර කලින්. මම දැම්මා මේව හදලා තියාගන්න. හරි. Okay, luminous objects. So the meaning of the luminous objects, the objects that can produce light. So under luminous objects, you can write. Under luminous objects, you can write. The objects that can produce light. So they are called luminous objects. They are called luminous objects. Examples: sun, stars, lighted candle. Just don't write candle. It is a luminous object. It's a luminous object when it is lighted. Up to that time, it is not a luminous object. So lighted candle, lighted bulb, glowing bulb. Those are the examples. Then again, firefly, glowworms. So they are coming under luminous objects. You can write them. අපේ ක්ලාස් එක යන්නේ 7 to 8:30. වෙනද එදා වෙලාවම තමයි. 8:30 වලට ඉවරයි. Okay. Then comes non-luminous objects. So the non-luminous objects are the objects which cannot produce its own light. Yeah, right? The objects that cannot produce light. They are non-luminous objects. Make examples ලියන්න පුළුවන්. A moon, even though we see the moon as a luminous object, it is just reflecting the reflecting the light of the sun. Moon, planets, brick, trees, then so those are the examples. Even though even a light before switching on is a non-luminous object. Right? You can write this. Okay, we'll go back to the tube. To see an object, below procedure should have taken place. So this is the requirement to see an object. This diagram is again in your textbook. This is a lighted bulb, and a person is looking at the flower. The light falls onto the flower and reflected to the eye. Then only we can see the flower. But for a luminous object, that is not needed. We can directly see it because it is producing light. We can see luminous objects directly without the help of another object. But non-luminous objects, we should get the help of another luminous object. So you can draw this diagram in that box. Okay, let's go back to the tube. Right. Depending on the nature of traveling of light, we can categorize objects as follows. There are three kinds of objects: transparent, translucent, and opaque. Transparent, translucent, and opaque. So when we say transparent objects, the light rays can easily go through it without any difficulty, without any change of direction. So they are coming under transparent objects. Example, the windscreen of a vehicle. It's a very highly transparent thing. And clear water, again transparent. So those are the examples, right? Here also you can see the information here. From here we take that things. Transparent. The objects which allow the light rays to pass through them well are called transparent objects. Example, windscreen of vehicles, clear water. Those are the examples. You can write them. Transparent. Okay. Then we come to the translucent. Now, when it comes to the translucent objects, so the light rays going through them will be subjected to irregular change of directions. So irregular change of directions. As a result, we cannot identify the object clearly, which is beyond that particular object. For an example, one of the best examples is bathroom glass, that's decorated glass. So it is translucent. Even though the light comes to the other side, things are blurred. We can't see what is inside. Then some glasses that we put onto the windows, that decorated glass, so they are translucent. And buckets thin. AK වර්ගයක් තියෙනවා papers වලින් අර oil papers වල වගේ ඒක translucent. You can't see things inside clear, right? අර වෙසක් කුඩුට අලවන අර සවුකඩ දාසි කියන්නේ අන්න ඒවත් oil paper එකත් ඔකටම එනවා, right? Translucent. So you can identify things beyond that particular object. the objects which make light rays to change the directions irregularly when going through them. So they are the translucent objects. Example, oil paper, then decorated glass. These are the examples. So the next unit will be the biggest one, unit 6. There are 48 pages. Okay. So little by little, you have to write it. I'll try to upload it today, the lesson number 6. So that is the biggest lesson in your first grade 11 book. The thing is, it is almost writing. All are writing and diagrams because it is a biology lesson. So as you can see, we are not going at a very higher speed. So we are moving at a very manageable rate. And even then with that pace, we have completed 4 lessons now and we have touched the lesson number 5 also. If these problems are not there in the normal years, now by now, we have completed the lesson number 6, lesson number 7 also by now. Okay, that's enough. Then comes the opaque objects. So the opaque objects will not allow the light rays to go through. Now, if you look at this whiteboard, the light will not go through it. It is not allowing the light rays to go through. So those are the opaque objects. Opaque. The objects that do not allow light rays to go through them. Example, brick, metals, wood, etc. So those are the examples. Okay. So we'll continue with the note. Then in the tube, we have to define light ray, parallel beam, convergent beam, divergent beam. So those things we have to illustrate. So first, light ray. So the meaning of the light ray, actually they have not given a definition. Make a definition එකක් දෙන්න දීලා නැහැ. හරිද? එතකොට light ray means a narrow path that light can travel. So in that light ray thing, you can write a narrow path that light travels. So that is a light ray.